Welcome back, everyone. We're going to now start the Test 2 material. So Test 2 is going to be Friday, October 16th, and it will cover sections 1-4 through 1-8. So this playlist will go over exactly these sections and how to do all of the questions that pop up in the homework for these sections. So to start with, let's go to section 1.4. And section 1.4 is about functions and graphs. And roughly speaking, this is about how whenever you hear x squared, you probably at the back of your head have some picture that looks kind of like this. So we're going to connect all of these various pieces. Okay. But before we talk about graphs, let's talk about functions. So what is a function? A function really is just a rule for transforming an input into a single output. And really, if you just focus on the words input and output, you're most of the way there to understanding what it is a function is supposed to do. Now, we have a particular way we usually like to write functions, which is in this f of x equals 4 minus x squared, this kind of notation. And this is called function notation. Now, how does this transform inputs into outputs? Well, you should always be thinking, this thing in the parentheses, that's where the input's going to go, and then this thing on the other side of the equal sign, this is the output. So, for example, if I put in 2, then I get out, I'm supposed to put in 2 for x there, 4 minus 2 squared, which is 0. Okay, so for this particular function, the input 2 corresponds to the output 0. Or if I took the input 3 instead, that would say 4 minus 3 squared, which would in fact be minus 5. Okay, and so, again, the input of 3 corresponds to the output of minus 5. And so whenever we're talking about functions, which is going to be the main topic of this course, we're always going to be talking about the inputs and the outputs of the function. Just a note here about why this was minus 5. This is an order of operations thing. So powers come before subtraction in the order of operations. So I don't do 4 minus 3 and then square it. I do the squaring first, which means this is 4 minus 9, and then I do the subtraction, which is minus 5. Okay. So be mindful of this order of operations is always lurking in the background. I did want to note that functions come up all over the sciences and social sciences and other areas. They are not only given by these sort of super mathy rules, so you can also have something like y of t, US GDP in the year t. Okay. This is a rule that explains how to take the input t and give it an output. So if you pull up Google, you can look up, for example, that with this y of 2019 would be about $20 trillion. But you can imagine all through the sciences, there are all sorts of functions like this. And often when we're talking about calculus, we're going to be talking about functions that have some sort of real-world meaning attached to them. Okay. But back for the moment to this f of x equals 4 minus x squared, I want to note that I can put in inputs that aren't numbers. So I can, for example, put in the input 2 plus h. Now, it's perfectly fair for you to ask the question, why would you want to do that? And I'll go ahead and spoil for you the answer is because the main thing we're going to be talking about in this course is something called a derivative. And in order to calculate a derivative, you need to calculate something like this. But for now, you're perfectly free to feel like this is a pointless thing for me to ask you to do, but just know that the reason why we're doing it is because we're going to need it later. Okay, so let's calculate what f of 2 plus h is. So f of 2 plus h is going to be, okay, and so I'm supposed to take this whole 2 plus h, that's supposed to be my input, and I'm supposed to put that in where the x is. Right. And so I'm going to get that. Now note, I absolutely need these parentheses. And the reason why I need the parentheses is, again, an order of operations thing. If I did not have the parentheses, that is, if I wrote 4 minus 2 plus h squared, then what this is saying is to square just the h. Because this would happen before the plus. Powers happen before plus. And so that's not what I want to happen, because the thing I want to do is square the input. And so if I want that to happen, I need the parentheses here. You will more or less never hurt yourself if whenever you put in something that has two terms like this, you put parentheses around it when you plug it in for the x. Anyway, we probably want to continue simplifying this. This 4 minus 4 cancels, and so I get just minus 4h minus h squared. Okay, so you're going to see a lot of these questions popping up on the homework, probably on the test, where you're given some function and just asked to plug in something like 2 plus h, 3 plus h, 5 plus 2h, whatever. Whatever it happens to be, you'll just follow this kind of procedure and you'll get some answer that looks like this that's got some h's in it after you've simplified it at the end of the day. All right, let me do one more example of this just to make sure that we're comfortable with it. So let's take now as our function g of x is 2x plus 3 divided by x minus 4. Note I can take something like g of 5 still. That is, I can ask what's the output that corresponds to the input 5. If I do that, I have to put in 5 for all of the x's. And if I do that, I'm going to get 2 times 5 plus 3 divided by 5 minus 4. So that'll be 13 over 1, which we just write as 13. So again, input of 5 corresponds to an output of 13 under this rule. And just like before, I can ask something like, hey, what's g of 4 plus h? And I'm going to put in 4 plus h for both x's. So I will have 2 times. And remember I said just go ahead and put the parentheses here. So I'm going to put the parentheses here around the 4 plus h. And then 4 plus h minus 4. Okay. I'll go ahead and simplify this. So I can distribute this 2. Note the parentheses again I needed there to remind me that I need to distribute the 2. So that's going to be 8 plus 2h plus 3 divided by then 4 plus h minus 4. That's just h. And so this is 11 plus 2h divided by h. Please note I cannot cancel the h's here. The only way that I can cancel the h's is if I have an h in every term. And I don't. In this case, I only have an h in this term.